to discuss. A little bit closer to the union that we're learning here. Okay, we're on page Kuf Nun Aleph on the bottom. So the Rebbe says that the Aveda of the Nefesh of the Kis with the Nefesh HaBahamis can have an effect only to the extent of his kapia. Iskafia means that the Nefesh HaBahamis submits, recognizes the superiority of that which the Nefesh HaKis stands for. But it itself is not capable of absorbing it for itself. So therefore it is kofri. It stands there in a submissive manner. Internally, its interest, its understanding, and its feelings are still where it was. But it recognizes, like it says over here, that he's masking to the beetle of the Nefesh HaKis. Let us understand the principle of the beetle of the Nefesh HaKis. We have two questions about beetle. One is, how is it possible? Beetle, can one disregard his reality? Beetle means beetle through and through. That this is how he lives, this is how he functions. So who is functioning if he is bottle? This is from one angle. And the other angle is, what's so difficult about beetle? Beetle is a very simple turnaround. Why is it so challenging? Now it's two contradictory questions.
It's challenging because he loses his Metzias.
Okay, so his mafke is Metzias.
That's the challenge.
So why is so difficult about it? He knows that this is the truth, this is right. He's mafke.
It's like the Metzias doesn't allow it to happen. I mean, this Metzias doesn't want it to be Oz Metzias. He's like to say he's fighting for his Metzias.
But he's not even interested in experiencing this. He's just submitting to the rule of the master. When you go and get a job in a company, do you have a difficulty in accepting direction and orders from your superior? Hello, everybody has that experience?
Usually not.
Huh?
It's
not normal to have difficulties. It's not normal. So what's so challenging in the case of Shabamis? Beetle, he's bottle because that's what it is.
But the Nefesh HaBahamis is not that's what it is.
What?
The Nefesh HaBahamis is not in that status to initially to accept. He wants his Metzias to be expressed.
He ain't his Metzias, but he's obedient to the Nefesh HaKis.
But that's not his essence.
Uh-huh.
That's not what he stands for. You have to train him that way. Initially,
and when you get a job, and you really stand to be subservient to your boss, is that what you're born to be?
It's not always easy. So
To me,
in the principle, you get hired, you submit to the superior. But sometimes it's a real challenge. It could not make sense according to the Mitzvah.
No, I'm asking not according to, I'm asking, we all experience that. So, of course, the answer to these two questions is that the beetle that we are speaking of, right over here, like it says, there is iskafio. Even iskafio, the beetle we're speaking of is not a practical beetle, that he will obey what he is told to do. But that it reveals his true being. It permeates his entire being, that's what the beetle. This is why we say that he's taking a cue from the Nefesh Elokis. He sees the Nefesh Elokis in the beetle and he says, I'm asking that's the way it should be. And how come I am asking why should it be this way? The answer over here is we must not miss this most important point. The beetle of Nefesh Elokis is not a natural beetle that the Nefesh Elokis is bottled. It's a beetle because there is the Gilo Elokus, the Nefesh Elokis. It is bottled to the Elokus that is nisgaber by the Nefesh, by it.
It's not natural for the godly soul to be bottled.
When the Nefesh Habanis recognizes the beetle of Nefesh Elokis, and what is it recognized? That Nefesh Elokis is cognizant of God Himself, of godliness, of God. And that's why it's bottled. It's bottled not because it is bottled by nature. It is bottled because it wants to relate to this truth that it has identified. But the Nefesh Habamis sees, the Nefesh Elokis is submitting. Nefesh Elokis is a very powerful entity. He's submitting to this truth, and in a bottled manner. Nefesh Habamis is recognizing, there's something very real here.
What does it mean it's not natural?
What's not natural? What is natural to be all bottled?
For the godly soul. I thought the godly soul is like a part of Hashem Himself, and it's not about the experience.
This is how come it knows of Hashem. It knows of Hashem because it's part of Hashem. And this is how come it has a beetle. Even when it comes into the bottle, it has a beetle because it knows of Hashem. The godly, it's not, you can't oversimplify this. The Nefesh Elokis comes into the world and it deals with Nefesh Habamis. And when it comes to the Nefesh Habamis with its beetle, it is telling Nefesh Habamis, look what I am bottled to. And this is the Nefesh Habamis is masking on the beetle of Nefesh Elokis. Not the beetle per se, but the whole scenario, the whole reason why it's bottled. Nefesh Habamis recognizes that the real truth is a locus which is completely superior to the world. And you have to recognize this, not only this superiority, you have to recognize this truth itself. You have to function and live with the cognizance of this truth. Otherwise, your existence is insignificant.
What's the difference between recognizing superiority and living with it?
Think about it. Tell me.
You recognize superiority. It's not really. It doesn't become you.
So ultimately, the nefesh elikis is capable to affect the nefesh habahamis with submission. What does it submit to? It submits to that which the nefesh elikis is submitting to. Because it recognizes that, yes, indeed, that is the correct thing. That is the truth. And then, however, we say that this is not the end of the story. The nefesh elikis, its beetle, is the effect of its beetle is such that the elokus permeates its whole being. It speaks elokus, it lives elokus, it breathes elokus. This is why it's called nefesh elikis. It's a nefesh that in all its aspects is godly. What is godly, if we can attempt to go there, versus worldly? Is godly a presence? If it's a presence, how is it different than worldly presence? The difference is a worldly presence. We actually conjure, or we project what it looks like. And what it's made of. Godly presence does not have building material, what it's made of. There's nothing tangible about it. So what kind of mitzias is it that it has no material that holds it up? From our worldly perspective, it is an imaginary existence. Except the existence of itself is imaginary because we have no way, there is no tangible thing. But the recognition of its existence is not imaginary.
Was it last line? The what? The what's not imaginary? Didn't hear you.
The recognition of its presence is not imaginary.
We went from saying, from a worldly perspective, godliness is imaginary, but
It would seem that because there's no tangibility to it.
fine. And then we said, but the recognition is not imaginary.
That's right. The recognition that it's there. What kind of mitzias is it? We have no idea. But that there is such a thing is something else.
Something else, meaning almost more tangible, more
No,
worldly?
no, okay. No, it's not. No, it's not tangible and it's not worldly.
Mm.
But we certainly recognize. I did submit to it. Now we know that the real truth is not based on tangibility at all.
Right. I'm just looking at what happened right here. The bittul is more accessible than the identification of the king himself.
Hmm?
The bittul, the submission, is more accessible than the king himself. We went from saying it's sort of imaginary to saying the recognition is not imaginary, as if to say closer to us, yeah?
We spoke the other day the difference between chokhmah and emunah. You remember that?
On WhatsApp more.
Oh, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
So it was up a WhatsApp lesson.
Okay.
Chokhmah. Let me repeat it and let's get over this. Chokhmah is like sight. Sight, even if you were looking at the far, far distance, the far distance does not come into being without an intervening presence. From you all the way to that distance, there is something there. And that's why this far distance is real, because it is built upon, it is built up by covering this entire distance from beginning, from my vantage point, all the way down there. That's Chokhmah. Emunah goes straight to the far reality. There is no process, there is no connection between that and you. This is a koyach hanefesh that goes straight to the upper, to the godly in truth, without any intervening elements that support it and give it support. And okay, so how do we relate it? How do we know about it? We don't know about it in terms of our personal knowledge. We recognize it deep down in our own. We said the other day, emunah is a koyach in the nefesh. That is an emunah koyach. He knows deep down into himself that there is a truth that is beyond my knowledge. And this is the union to which I commit. This is what I'm saying. This is that presentation that we present to the Nefesh HaBahamis. To the Nefesh HaBahamis, we cannot present to the Nefesh HaBahamis anything that we can tangibly present it, but he sees the Nefesh Elikis itself is bottled to something that it does not fully comprehend. And therefore the Nefesh HaBahamis recognizes that the real truth is beyond comprehension. And that is what you should be submitting to. Submitting to that which you comprehend is a false submitting. Because the real source is that which you cannot comprehend. In Avodas Hashem, there is the following Nakuda. Torah means to teach a person how to behave in a very proper way. All the very fine inyanim. There's one nakuda in all of these things and all of these things are very easy to relate to. One nakuda that evades full comprehension, full understanding, full relating. That nakuda is that why? Because Hashem said so. Not because you live in the same world and you have to live in peace with each other. And that he should be as happy as he can. The reason you have to take care of him is because he is the Mebushin's creation. And the Rebbe should commanded you, it's a command from the Mebushin. It's a divine command. It's not something that makes sense within human experience. The real Avodas Hashem is this nakuda. This nakuda is above the whole seichel process. Where does this nakuda come from? This nakuda comes from knowing Mebushin, not from a tangible perspective, but at the Emunah level. Emunah level means without any description, without any tangibility, without any worldly means of definition.
But you didn't answer the first question.
What?
The first question was the bittul would cause someone not to exist, and therefore, how does he have ability of?
Because he has a koyach emunah. Koyach emunah is taking not an existent thing. This is koyach emunah is taking the godly presence in the person himself, which is not a creative entity.
Sorry. So what are you saying? The person is existing.
Let me elaborate. Let me elaborate a second. Okay? We'll take up this our Mashonim in a very simple way. You're a guest in my home, and I'm serving you lunch. And everything is very fine. And as we said, it has to be exactly this way. It's his lunch, and when he's serving and you're eating, while you're eating it, his lunch and so forth. Since that he gave it to you, and you're eating real lunch, real food, where is he in it? The food is food. The food you can buy in a store too. Where is the he in it? Okay, let's see if we can get this. You could say the he in it is because he serves it to you. They found that he serves it to you, you could have served it to yourself. You can go to the fridge and also get the food. Why is this exclusively he? The real he in this is not of all the things that are occurring. It is the initial invitation. It was his idea to invite you. And the reason for the invitation was not because of, I want to discuss something with you, I love your company. This is way beyond that. This invitation, this is what starts it off. The starting point, this is called the Muna. That which begins from nothing.
So the invitation on the marshal, what was the invitation for? Just to be close, to make him feel.
Oh, okay, good. Go ahead, try and identify why.
Not because you enjoy his company.
The invitation is none of the above. But because there is a certain divine truth in us getting together. It's not even mind making. Something brought them together, but this is not within their understanding. It's even.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point of this invitation? The point I'm making, this invitation is that which starts it off, the bracious, the beginning of something. This is a nakuda of higher than the Metzias. In Avedis Od to Mevashim, there is also this nakuda that starts it off, that you don't have an explanation. Where does it come from? This is something which is imbued and which is given to put in the person at creation. But this nakuda, the nefesh ho'elokis, is completely bottled to this because it doesn't consist of any mitzias. And with this nakuda, the nefesh ho'elokis can effectuate beetle in nefesh abamis. But nefesh abamis sees that nefesh ho'elokis is bottled to something which is totally intangible. And yet, yes, there is that in that nakuda which is beyond the tangible world. This is what nefesh abamis is bottled. Except it's still missing something. What is it missing? It's missing this in his hapcha, that he should be able to actually represent that being. It can function according to it, but not represent it. That representing this is something which has to be given milmala. Just as Nefesh is also got it milmala.
It's for the animal soul to not just function like that, but to represent it.
Yeah.
The godly soul already represents it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This is called, okay, we'll start on the second line from the bottom. This is the Abed Nefesh Kish, but there be the Nefesh Abamis, Umaltem. Umaltem, the sort of laughing means that you have to cut open the covering of the heart.
Where are we?
Okay, 3 lines from the bottom. You see that the Abed is order B'keach Atzmo. The Abed of person B'keach Atzmo with his own ability. He is Umaltem, the soros of You should circumcise the orla, the covering of your heart. What is the covering of the heart? The covering of the heart is that which gives the heart a feeling that I have everything within myself. I can function within my own orientation. I'm satisfied as I am. And you have to cut open this memory, this covering. Let him see that there is that really there is that there's a truth outside which is greater than that which you contain inside. And to that you have to be bottled. This opening of the heart to recognize you have to be bottled to that which is higher is Aveda Pitama Das. It's an Aveda that you work with the Nefesh, Pitama Das, with your Seichel. Because the Seichel itself, as I said, the Seichel itself, even though there is Chochmah, in Chochmah itself there is a Munah which goes to the Chochmah beyond its understanding. To the Aveda of Chochmah, one comes to the height which is higher to a Munah. This is Lamana B'Tam B'Das. Aveda Pitam B'Das. Aveda B'Das, not Aveda B'Das. It brings you to a cognizance that is beyond the mitzias of your understanding. It opens you up and say, yes, all I'm doing is very good. Here's the crux. But I'm doing it not because it's good, but because I was told to do so by the Meibus. And this is how you bring the Meibus into your life. Yeah, there are two lines on the bottom. Aval bot umol havaya lekech. The other level, but havaya lekech, the Mila comes from the Meibus directly. Hu inyan, this represents how Ava Shalamana Metamadas. And Nahava that is above Tamadas, which means that there he has an Ava not due to its own to that which it can relate to, but this is an Ava the way it is by the Meibus. The time is almost up. I want to put something into this. Abba Shema Metamadas. We know that the principle of life is the rotzon yichyos, the will to live. To appreciate the significance, the experience of life is very, very important. One wants to live. And this wanting to live, there are two levels. There's wanting to live that every individual creature and a human being wants to live. Then there is the wanting to live as it is given. It is because the Rebbe wants you to live. That's why you have a rotzon lichis. It's a rotzon that was being imbued in us from the Rebbe. When the Rebbe created the human being, he gave him a function and he put into him the will to fulfill this function. This is a rotzon. This is a rotzon that comes from above his own mitzias. The rotzon lichiyos that the Rebbe has put in, that the Rebbe wants him to live, and this is what he actually, the power of his rotzon lichiyos. Not for his own sake, but because this is the Rebbe's rotzon. This is the Ahava Shulman Matamadas. And this is given to the Nefesh Habamis, to the person which is Nefesh Habamis, Milmai.
The lower reason of wanting to live is from the experiences in the world.
Yeah, not from the world, but from his own experience of life. And as a result of this Nas is affected, is Havach HaSheichel in the Hero, when darkness is transformed into light. One word about it. Is Havach HaSheichel in the Hero. The darkness is transformed into light. What does that darkness is world unto itself. Like we said the other day. Without light, you can identify everything in the world by touch. So when you identify things by touch, you're identifying a Metzius that is, how do you identify by touch? Because you put your hand down and the hand cannot go any further, it's holding the hand back, but it's kind of an obstacle. Oh, there's something here. That's what touch is. That's all, there's something here. But then, you come to realize that, that this touch actually is telling you something more than there's something here. It tells you the value of what it is. Not just there's something there that interferes with your movements. This is the way it is with darkness, so the intangibility. But actually, this something is a table which is serving a much greater purpose. This is where the darkness itself becomes light.